Okay, good afternoon to all of you. In last lectures, we have discussed regarding the product concentrate. In that, we have seen different systems: two-phase system, three-phase system, then solution system that we have discussed, suspension system we have also discussed. Also, we have seen the advanced technique regarding the aquazole system also. In today's lectures, we'll discuss about one more components of aerosol system. It is a very much important component, that is a propellant. So as we already discussed, the main two components of aerosol systems are product concentrate and the propellants. Along with that also, we have also discussed there are four basic components on they togetherly they made the aerosol systems. First is your product concentrate, second one that is the propellant, third one your containers, and last one that is the wall assembly. So these four togetherly uh, create, or we can say the made the aerosol system. First component that we have seen in details regarding the systems, right? Like a two-phase system, solution system will be there, or we have seen suspension system, emulsion system, like a foam system that we have also discussed. Now today we'll talk about another one important component, that is our propellant. So just 1 minute. The screen is visible to all of you now. Yes, is it visible now? Screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Okay. So, as we already discussed, the two main components, the product concentrate and the propellants are there. Product concentrate, that is active drug combined with some additional ingredients or the co-solvents that is required to make a stable and efficient product, and and the propellant that provide the force that expels the product concentrate from the container, and as well as additionally it is responsible for the delivery of the formulations in the proper form in the sense either in a spray form or the foam form or the semi-solid form. So we have seen the working principles of the aerosols also. What will happens when actuator is depressed against the spring, or what are the tension means springs are there which is attached to the ball assembly, that we'll see in a discuss. So what will happens, so that allows the concentrated liquid propellant mix to the whatever the product concentrate is present, and what will happen at equilibrium, or sorry, equilibrium is quickly established between the portions of the propellant which is remain liquidified and that which is vaporized. So what will happen, the vapor phase exerts the pressures in all the directions against the wall of the containers and the surface of the liquid phase, right? So these pressures that upon the actuations of the aerosol wall that force the liquid phase up into the deep tube and out of the orifice of the wall assembly. And as we already discussed, as the propellant that release into the air, it immediately evaporates due to the drop in pressures which leaves the product concentrate as a airborne liquid droplets or a dry particles. So what is the propellant? So propellants, it is the chemicals with the vapor pressures greater than the atmospheric pressures at 40 degrees Celsius. So it is responsible for the developing the proper pressure within the containers, and it will provide a driving force to expel the product from the containers. Right? So when we are talking about the propellant, so this particular propellant that is responsible for developing the proper pressures within the container and expel the product into the suitable forms after the aids in optimizations of the foam productions of the product. So there are two types of basic propellants: liquefied gas propellants and your compressed gas propellant. So we'll see about detail about this particular propellant system. So a liquefied gas uh, are the gases at the room temperatures and atmospheric pressures and can be liquefied easily by the lowering the temperatures of the increased pressures. So these are they should be relatively inert, non-toxic, and non-inflammable. That has to be considered. So liquefied propellants, these are the gases that are exist as a liquid under the pressure. So because the aerosol is under the pressure, propellant exists mainly as a liquid form, but it will also be in the headspace as the gaseous form. So here we can see that particular liquid gas propellants that can be present at the headspace here, as well as that will present or that is present with the product concentrate also. The product is used up as the valve is open. Some of the liquid propellant turns into the gas and keep the headspace full of the gas. So in this way, the pressures in the can remains essentially constant and the spray performance is maintained throughout the life of the aerosol. So the exhalations of your product from the container that can be achieved by this type of propellants. So mostly the chlorofluorocarbon propellants. These are the propellants that can be used for the oral and inhalation purpose. Some examples they are given here. Trichloromonofluoromethanes, dichloro-difluoromethanes are there, or the dichlorotetrafluoroethanes are there. Now here we can see these are the name as the propellant 1, propellant 12, propellant 14. So how these nomenclatures are given, that we are going to see at the end of these lectures. But what are the advantages and why these particular chlorofluorocarbons are used? So for many years, the chlorofluorocarbons, CFC propellant, that they were used in aerosol product, but nowadays these aerosols or these propellants are curtailed due to their roles in depleting the ozone layer of the atmosphere, so that will affect the ozone depletion process. So nowadays in a small amount only these particular chlorofluorocarbons are used. So since January 1996, worldwide productions of these particular chlorofluorocarbon propellants has been reduced to only the amount that is needed for the aerosol used in the treatment of asthma and the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. So this particular as here we can see the disadvantage of using the chlorofluorocarbon, that is it depletes the ozone layer. What is the role of ozone layer? Yes, anyone? What is the role of ozone layer in the environment?
सनलाईट पासून UV रेज असतात ते प्रोटेक्ट करतात.
Right, it protects the direct contact of UV rays to reach the earth. So because of this particular CFC used in a large amount, CFC mostly कुठे utilize केला जातो माहिती आहे तुम्हाला? Refrigeration मध्ये. So that particular CFC that will affect it, or they play the several curtailed role in the depletions of the ozone layer. So now, since 1996, January 1996, the productions of this particular CFC has been reduced. But only in case of the asthmatic medicines or chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases are there. In that case, you can add the chlorofluorocarbons in a small amount. Now the alternatives they have been developed and that are incorporated in aerosol formulations. Uh, so basically, the advantage of using the chlorofluorocarbon is that it is chemically inert, which is having the lack of toxicity, and the important thing about the flammability. These particular chlorofluorocarbons are the non-flammable, and that will lead to the lack of explosiveness. So basically, mostly P11 or trichloromonofluoromethanes will be there, or dichlorotetrafluoromethanes. These are the alternatives they have used now. So small amount of this particular P11 now ज्यावेळी मी P11 किंवा P12 असं म्हणेल त्यावेळी These are the names given, trade names we can say of that particular propellant. How they are derived, that we'll discuss later on. So P11 or the propellant 11 or the propellant 12 or the propellant 114, they are required in the most of the aerosol suspensions to make a slurry of the active drug and the other ingredients. So also it is also used to dissolve the surfactant in some formulations also. Mostly propellant 11, that is the trichloro monofluoromethane, that is used that is the main choice for the oral and the nasal or the inhalation process in aerosols. So these particular chlorofluorocarbon propellants are well accepted due to their relatively low toxicity. They have already discussed and inflammatory. These are the these are the inert, but mostly propellant 11, that is the trichloromonofluoromethane, is subject to the hydrolysis, and that will lead to the hydrochloric acids in the presence of the water. So the precautions has to be taken while using this particular chlorofluorocarbon as a propellant. And what will happen if hydrochloric acids will produce or it will form, so that acid increase the corrosions of the container, and most of the times they may get irritating when applied to the skin membranes. So if water is present in the formulations, so instead of using the P11, you can use the P12 or the mixtures of the P12 and the P114. So there are some disadvantages also. Sometimes when you are using the aluminum hydroxide, means aluminum containers when you are using, and if you are using the ethanol as a propellant, so what will happen, that aluminum that is reacted with the alcohol, say suppose the ethanol, and they will form the aluminum triethoxide, means when it combines with the uh, ethanol, and what will happen, hydrogen is liberated. So if hydrogen is liberated in a container, what will happen, they will slowly increase the pressure inside the containers, and sometimes it will causes the rupture, or sometimes it will lead to the burstings also. So the selections of the propellant has to be carried out properly. Along with that, this particular CFC gas at room temperatures, that can be liquefied by the cooling them below their boiling points, or by compressing them at a room temperatures. Consider one examples, P12, the dichloromethanes, that will form the liquid when it is cooled at minus 21 degrees Fahrenheit, or when it is compressed at 84.9 psi. PSI, that stands for the pounds per square inches. So these liquefied gases that also have the very large expansion ratio compared to the compressed gas like nitrogens, or when we are using the carbon dioxide. So expansion ratio for the liquefied gas is about 1 to 240, which means that 1 ml of liquefied gas will occupy the volume of approximately 240 ml of 240 ml if allowed to evaporate. So that is called as the expansion ratio. तुमचा किती ml liquefied gas हा particular volume मध्ये occupied करण्यासाठी लागणार आहे. That will call as your expansion ratio, and that is compared to the high, means 1 as to 240, which is for the this particular liquefied or the liquid propellants, than your compressed gas. So compressed gas have the expansion ratio about 1 as to 30, or the 1 as to 1 as to 10. Sorry, 3 as to 10, means 3 ml तुमचा 10 ml मध्ये एक्सपांड होतं. याच्यामध्ये किती आहे, 1 ml तुमचा जो काही गॅस आहे, it will expand in a 240 ml of the volume. So this is regarding the chlorofluorocarbons. The second one, that are the hydrocarbons. So these particular hydrocarbon gases, like nitrogens are there, uh, hydrocarbon gases like propanes are there, isobutanes are there, butanes are there. So these particular hydrocarbons are used in the topical pharmaceuticals. The above means previous propellant that we have seen that they are using for your oral or the nasal inhalation purpose or nasal aerosol formulations. These particular hydrocarbons are used in the topical pharmaceutical aerosol because their environmental acceptance and their low toxicity as well as your non-reactivity. So they are also useful in making two-phase systems, as we have discussed in last lecture regarding the two-phase system and the three-phase system. So why these particular hydrocarbon gases are used for the preparations of the two-phase system is that because of their density. So that density of these particular gases are less than one, and their immiscibility with the water, and that's why these particular hydrocarbons are used in a in the preparation of the two-phase system. So the hydrocarbon that will remains on the top of the aqueous layer and that provide the force to push the container out of the containers. So mostly propane, isobutane, or the butane. These are the most commonly used hydrocarbons. So they are used either in a alone or in a mixtures or mixed with the liquefied gases that will use to obtain the desired vapor pressures along with the density as well as the degree of the flammability. So basically, most of the times. Uh, uh, this particular hydrocarbons they are used in a mixture form because to reduce the flammability hazard. So to reduce the flammability hazard, these particularly hydrocarbon propellants uh, propellant and are used in a combinations. As we have discussed in the last propellant type, that is hydrofluorocarbon propellants. So where hydrofluorocarbon propellants, what will happen when it react with water, it will causes the hydrolysis and it will form the hydrochloric acids, and that will corrode your containers because we are using either the metal containers. Most of the times we are using the steel plated or stainless steel containers, so that will causes the corrosiveness also. So here, mostly as we know, propane, isobutane, and the butane, these are the halogens, right? So these particular halogens, therefore, no hydrolysis will occur. And importantly, the advantage of using the hydrocarbons, it will not affect on our ozone layer. So these are the advantages. So it contains no halogens and therefore hydrolysis does not occur, and that will making this good propellant for the water-based aerosol systems. So we are discussing in a two-phase system. Suppose water is present and we are using the liquefied propellants like hydrofluorocarbons we are using. So it will causes the hydrolysis, which will lead to the formations of the hydrochloric acids. That hydrochloric acid can react with your containers and form the corrosions. Or sometimes it will irritate to the skin membranes also. But as these particular hydrocarbons with not containing halogens, and therefore the hydrolysis does not occur. So this will give the good propellant for the water-based aerosols. These are the advantages. They are given inexpensive, excellent solvents, and it does not cause the ozone depletations. So propane like C3H8, the vapor pressures at 70 degrees Celsius having 124 psi, boiling point is 43.7. For the isobutane, which is represented as the A31, vapor pressure is 45.1 and boiling point at 10.9 Fahrenheit. So these are the properties of the hydrocarbon propellant they are given here. Then hydrofluorocarbons and hydrofluorocarbons are there. hydrofluorocarbons and hydrochlorofluorocarbons are there. So hydrochlorofluorocarbons and the hydrofluorocarbons, these are the differ from our chlorofluorocarbons in that they may not contain chlorine and have one or more hydrogen atoms. So these compounds break down in the atmosphere at a faster rate than the chlorofluorocarbons. These compounds faster than the means breakdowns. Sorry, these particular hydrofluorocarbons and the hydrochlorofluorocarbons that break down in the atmosphere at a faster rate than the CFC. CFC, that is the chlorofluorocarbons, that is resulting in a lower ozone destroying effect. Means whatever the ozone depleting causes by the chlorofluorocarbons, that can be prevented by using these hydrofluorocarbons or the hydrochlorofluorocarbons derivatives. So these particularly differ. How they will differ from the chlorofluorocarbons? They may not contain chlorines and have one or more hydrogen atoms are there. Okay, so chlorodiafluoromethanes are there, chlorodiafluoroethanes are there. They are used in topical pharmaceuticals, and these particular propellants, and also diafluoroethanes also, that they are having the greater miscibility with the water, and therefore they are more useful as a solvent as compared to the other propellants. They are slightly more flammable than the other propellant, but we cannot say this is the disadvantages, because this particular hydrofluorocarbons, we can say this is a proper solvent for most of the aerosol formulations, which is having the low inhalation toxicity, having the high chemical stability, high purity, and importantly, not ozone depleting capacity, or lower ozone destroying effect will be occurs. But along with that, the cost of these particular hydrofluorocarbons is very much high. So this is the hydrofluorocarbons. And the last one, that is importantly, compressed gases. So compressed gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxides, and the nitrogens are there. So gases like these particular nitrogens or the nitrous oxides and the carbon dioxides, that can be used as an aerosol propellant for the product dispense, as a fine mist or a foam, or for the semi-solid purpose. But because of their low expansion ratios, uh, what are the sprays that are fairly wet, and the foams are not as stable as produced by the liquefied gas propellants. So here, compressed gas propellants that occupies the headspace above the liquid in the can because of the low density as compared to the other formulations. When the aerosol valve is open, the gas presents inside the container that push the liquid out of the can. The amount of gas that is present in a headspace that remains the same, but it has more space, and as a result, the pressures will drop during the life of the can. म्हणून काय काय वेळा माहिती आहे आपण म्हणजे कंटेन संपत आल्यावर जरी आपण ऍक्च्युएटर प्रेस केला तर त्याच्यामधून फक्त एअर बाहेर येते, प्रोडक्ट बाहेर येते. So that particular amount of gas present in that particular headspace, until जोपर्यंत तुम्ही सगळं प्रेशर त्याच्यामधून बाहेर काढत नाही तोपर्यंत. So the pressure of the compressed gas contained in that particular headspace of the aerosol container, that forces the product concentrate out of the container. But unlike the other aerosol prepared with the liquefied gas propellant, there is no propellant reservoir system is there. So mostly higher gas pressures are required in these aerosols, and the pressures that are diminishes as the product that is used. So mostly nitrogens, which is having the vapor pressures up to 490 psi, or mostly nitrous oxides that can be used, which is having the vapor pressures up to 735 psi at 70 degree Fahrenheit, or carbon dioxide, which is having the highest vapor pressure, that is the 852 psi pressure that it possesses. So these particularly gases are uses. So So these gases have been used for the most part of the dispensed product. Mostly dental creams or mostly hair sprays are there or the perfumes. So in this case, mostly these compressed gas propellants that are used. So spray performance is maintained, however, by the careful choice of the aerosol valve or the actuator system. Now here the important thing that we are going to discuss, that is how these particular nomenclatures are given. The nomenclatures of the propellants, as we have discussed, like a tetrafluoromethane. Okay, so how this will be the name basically. आपण मगासपासून म्हणतोय की P11, P12 or P114. So what these are? So all the propellants that are designated by the three digits 000. So suppose these three digits are there. So when first digit is 0, the propellant is designated by the last two digits. 0 is assumed to be the first digit. Means propellant 001 will be there. So will be called as a propellant 11. Now what are the three digits are? So basically these three digits represents the different components present in a propellant. Number of the carbons atom, number of the hydrogens atoms and the number of the fluorines present in a propellant. So as we will discuss dichloro tetrafluoroethane. What will be the you can say the formula for this particular dichloro tetrafluoroethane? Can anyone? माझं केमिस्ट्री एवढं चांगलं नाहीये. But still, dichloro, that means it contains two chlorine atom, ethane, obviously two carbon atoms will be there, and tetrafluoro, that means four fluorines will be there, right? बरोबर आहे का मी सांगतोय ते? ऐकताय का कोणी? Dichloro tetrafluoromethane. Okay, that stands for C2Cl2F4. Now we'll give the nomenclature for this particular dichloro tetrafluoroethane. Okay, सगळ्यांनी जर तुमच्याकडे पेन आणि वही असेल तर हे लिहून घ्या. घेतला फॉर्म्युला लिहून C2Cl2F4. Okay, dichloro tetrafluoroethane. Now we'll give the nomenclature for this particular dichloro tetrafluoroethanes. So what this says, the first digit is one less than the number of carbon atoms in the compound. Okay, when there are only two digits, 0 is understood to be the first digit and that indicates the methane derivatives. Methane मध्ये तुमचा किती असणार आहे कार्बन? 1 carbon, right? So 1 minus 1, that will be the 0. When this first digit is 1, the propellant is ethane derivative. When 2, it is propane, and when 3, it will be butane, right? बेसिक तुमचं झालंय, मिथेन, इथेन, प्रोपेन, ब्युटेन. हो की नाही? प्लीज आन्सर्स जागे असाल तर. तुम्हाला याच्या पुढचा एक प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व करायचा आहे. So write down what I have just saying to you. So there will be three digit numbers or the propellant that will designated with the by the three digits 000. So first digit, that is one less than number of carbon atoms. Means suppose methane असेल तर तुमचा फर्स्ट डिजिट काय होणार आहे? 0. ब्युटेन इथेन असेल तर तुमचा फर्स्ट डिजिट हा 1 असेल. देन प्रोपेन असेल तर तुमचा फर्स्ट डिजिट हा 2 असेल, कारण C3, राइट? CH या. देन ब्युटेन असेल तर तुमचा तो डेरिव्हेटिव्ह काय असणार आहे? 3 असणार आहे. ओके, सगळ्यांनी लिहून घेतलंय का? आय एम आस्किंग समथिंग की रोल नंबर घेऊन बोलवायला पाहिजे. कोणीतरी एकांतरी आन्सर
Yes,
करत
sir.
आहे.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is the formula for methane? It is CH4. What is the formula for ethane? It is C2H6.
H5, 6.
H5 or H6?
H6.
H6, right?
H6.
What is the formula for propane? C3H8, right? And likewise C4H10 or C5H12, likewise till the pentene. Now first digit what they said, which is one less than the number of carbon atom. Obviously जर मिथेन असेल तर तुमचं फर्स्ट डिजिट काय होणार आहे, तुमचा कार्बन ॲटम किती आहे, 1 आहे. 1 मायनस 1 इट विल बी 0. इथेन असेल कार्बन ॲटम तुमचे किती आहेत, 2. 2 मायनस 1 1, दॅट विल बी युअर फर्स्ट डिजिट. जे आपण मगासपासून बघतोय ना यांचे नॉमेनक्लेचर्स, की हे प्रोपेलंट 2 काय आहे, किंवा हे प्रोपेलंट 1 काय आहे, प्रोपेलंट 1 काय आहे, प्रोपेलंट 1 काय आहे. आता हा डायक्लोरो टेट्राफ्ल्युरो इथेन बद्दल आपण बोलतोय. त्याचा फॉर्म्युला काय आहे डायक्लोरो टेट्राफ्ल्युरो इथेनचा, C2Cl2F4. ओके, हा लिहून ठेवा तुमच्याकडे म्हणजे तुम्हाला कळेल. नाउ C2, that means it contains 2 carbon atom. So what will be the first digit here? 2 minus 1. 1 less than number of carbon atom. That is your first digit will be 1. The second digit is 1 more than number of hydrogen atoms. Now here hydrogen is present. डायक्लोरोटेट्राफ्लोरोइथेन मध्ये हायड्रोजन प्रेझेंट आहे का, नाहीये. C2Cl2F4, right, means 0 hydrogens are there. Now what they said, the second digit is 1 more than number of hydrogen atoms. So 0 plus 1, second digit will be your again 1, and the last digit that will represents the number of fluorines atom. How many fluorines are here in dichlorotetrafluoroethane? किती fluorines are?
4.
4. So the last digit will be your 4. So what is the total 3 digits number now here? Number of, what is the first digit here? 1. Second digit 0 hydrogen, so 1 plus 1 hydrogen, so 0 plus 1 hydrogen, that is the 1, and a number of fluorine, that is the 4. 1 1 4, that will be the nomenclatures given to the propellants. So ज्यावेळी P111 कुठेतरी असेल, that means in that particular formulations we are using the dichlorotetrafluoroethane. Okay, so suppose the number of fluorine atoms in the compound is formed by subtracting the sum of fluorines and hydrogen atoms from the total numbers of atoms that can be added to the saturated carbon chain. So most of the times instead of the fluorines atoms are present असतील. Mostly mostly present नसतात, but the number of fluorine atoms in the compound that we can found by subtracting the sum of the fluorines and the hydrogen atoms from the total numbers of atoms that can be added to the saturated carbon chains. Means the fluorine atoms plus your hydrogen atoms additions करून तुम्हाला त्याच्यामधून ते सबस्ट्रॅक्ट करावे लागतात जेवढे तुमचे कार्बन चेन्स मध्ये atoms प्रेझेंट आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये. Suppose in case of the isomers that are used, so in that case you can use some letters, means like we can use the small letter like a B C. Means suppose you are using the isomers of one propellant. So consider these particular dichloro tetrafluoroethanes तुम्ही त्याचा isomer utilize करताय. So आपण काय म्हटलं की P114 that is a one form will be there. So P114A that will be the isomers of your dichlorotetrafluoroethanes. And sometimes if cyclic compounds are there, you have to represent with the C, means small C numbers. Okay, so what you have to keep in the mind that these four are basically three rules that you have to keep in mind. What is the first digit stands for? First digit stands for your one less than carbon atom. जेवढे तुमचे carbon atoms असतील -1 that will be your first digit. Okay, what will be the second digit? 1 plus hydrogen atom. जेवढे तुमचे hydrogen atoms असतील त्याच्यापेक्षा 1 plus तुमचा hydrogen atoms second digit असणार आहे. And what will be the third digit? The number of fluorine atoms are present. Now calculate the, or you can say the create the nomenclature for tetrafluoroethane. I will give the formula. The formula is C2H2A4 tetrafluoroethane.